If there's such a thing as the all-American dad, Fred Bird might fit that description. He's a military veteran, husband, father, turkey hunter, a workout machine, and a staunch defender of our right to hunt and fish. Are you ready for a great conversation that's going to get you fired up for turkey season? Episode 14 of the Fit to Hunt podcast, powered by Wilderness Athlete, starts now. A man with the last name Bird was destined to chase wild turkeys. Is that your favorite thing? Of all the stuff you do, it seems like you like turkey hunting, man. So talk to me about that.
Yeah, what's not to like, right? I had what's the show rated? Are we PG here or we a little bit more?
I would say keep it somewhat on the level, but we've had a few conversations.
Well, I had a mentor that expressed to me his feelings on the matter, and it wasn't very Colonel Tom Kelly-ish, but it was something to the effect of turkey hunting's the most fun you can have with your clothes on, and
Mm-hmm.
I subscribe to that, and
There you go.
it is the best. I would challenge. Well, whatever. I'm not going to challenge anybody. You do what you want, but for me, there is nothing better. There's no better pursuit in the woods that I've ever come across than chasing a turkey wherever they're at.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a little fortuitous, right? The family name there kind of made sense. And then, people would say that to me in the past and I blow their minds and say, wait a second, wait till you find out what my middle name is. And they say, what's the middle name? And I have to pull out the driver's license to prove it, but Tom. So, just keep lining up.
So yes, whether mom and dad meant it to happen, it was destined. That's
That's
awesome.
exactly right.
Who you said you had a mentor? Who actually got you into chasing birds?
Well, truly, I was self-taught from the beginning, but as I maturated through my professional life and really through turkey hunting career and learning, when I got up with NWTF and I became an employee and things like that, my boss at the time, Phil Farrar, who's still a dear friend of mine, really took me under his wing, as far as the business, as far as NWTF culture, fundraising, all of it. But then also, what that work was for, and it was for the preservation of the hunting heritage and the conservation of the wild turkey. And then that part of that is getting out there and conserving it and being a part of that whole
Sure,
life cycle and hunting turkeys.
sure,
Um, and so I got to learn a great deal. All of them guys I worked with in the Northeast and the eastern part of the country, our team was just a phenomenal group of folks, and coupled with the volunteer leaders that would show up in different camps here and there, and just always having a good time. But you can always learn. You can only learn so much from old cassette tapes, VHS, books, and things like that. And that's when I was coming up. We didn't have YouTube. There was YouTube was in its infancy, so you were still rewinding tapes and then treasuring VHSs and praying that to God they didn't snap.
right.
And then DVDs, obviously, that were out there. But you can't. You'll never learn as much as you do in a turkey camp with people that have been there and done that, and even bouncing ideas off each other, and just
Hmm.
watching somebody run a call or listening to the cadence of them running a mouth call, and you start picking up on the nuances. And you're like, oh, okay, so that starts going in your toolbox. Yeah, Phil Farrar, great guy, great man, and a dear friend to this day.
So let's take a step back because when I met you, you were with the NWTF. So I'd be curious how you got to there. But where did you get your start professionally then?
Man, it's a torrid tale. No, man, it was golly days. So I got out of the military. I don't want to bore the audience with my whole resume, but got out of the military in '05, and I still didn't really know what I wanted to do with my life. I was a military security forces, so cop by trade
Yeah.
coming up, and that just was not going to do it for me. It was God bless the work, God bless the men and women that do it, but it just wasn't going to be a fit for me.
Huh.
So I had to start figuring things out, and I was, one of these adult onset emergent hunters, whatever you want to put the label on. And I didn't start hunting until I was in the military. And again, a lot of self-taught stuff and going out there doing it on my own, reading and watching as much as I could to figure this stuff out. And through that, I was like, I really want to work in the outdoor industry somehow, whatever, the outdoor space. And so initially I was going to go out and be a conservation officer in New Hampshire. And I went through the process and they had two positions. It came down to about six of us, if I remember right, out of like over 200 candidates, literally from all over the world. There was a fellow there from Australia, and they didn't pick a one of us up back then because the funds allocated for the positions supposedly got diverted elsewhere. So I took it as a sign, like, all right, you got a love and a passion for this. Law enforcement angle's not it, so now you got to find another way into it. And I know they get bagged on a lot nowadays and folks get prodded, but the whole pro staff deal back in the day, it was still kind of new and emerging. And anyway, you did a lot of volunteer work. That's what I did. A lot of networking, a lot of free hours, a lot of slinging turkey calls and whatever else. He had a God honest passion and appreciation for those brands and those people that, allowed for that networking, giving you that outdoor space clout. So yeah, again, lots of free volunteer work and maybe some free turkey calls come with it. But with that, you start stepping it up, and you get this background, this network of folks, industry professionals. So job comes along in the sports show arena. So there's industry knowledge and familiarity and personality familiarity, equipment familiarity. So I get into that space, managing expos, consumer sports shows, selling the space, things like that. So that space, as far as sales, just straight up sales, lends itself well to being an RD for NWTF because you are selling the mission, you are fundraising, you're working with a whole diverse group of people with different motivations. So that job I had was only a very small contract for that one show year, and just so happened NWTF was looking for a New England regional director at the time. When I was a volunteer, I was starting my own chapter, and the kid that I replaced, he told me, he said, "Oh, I'm leaving. I'm going to do this thing." I said, "Well, who the hell am I starting this chapter with? Like, I'm here because of you." And that's quite a bit of it, right, Jeremy? That relationship the volunteer has with the staffer,
Sure.
'cause that's you got this trust, and that's how you start growing these organizations. So he said, "Well, I'm leaving. Maybe you should put in for the job." I said, "Okay, I'll throw a line out."
Mhm.
Fast forward, I got the job. I became part of the team there, and we did real well here in the Northeast. And um, I left for a spell, came back to the organization not as a regional guy, but working for headquarters.
Right.
And early days, I just every now and again you just kind of flip through, see what the opportunities are, just keeping up with the space, the
Uh-huh.
industry, who's doing what. And Congressional Sportsman's Foundation, I had worked with my now boss, Brent Miller, collaborated with him with the two organizations when he was a manager here in the Northeast and not the vice president of policy for the whole country. And there was that relationship and familiarity. And I knew of the organization, I knew what their power was insofar as what they were able to accomplish in state, what they do in Washington, D.C. So they had a job position that was open. I said, "Holy smokes, that looks really interesting." So
Mhm.
had a couple conversations, some texts back and forth. I tell the story. I was sitting on the couch with my son watching Bruins hockey, and I saw it, and I just, boom, right there in the hand, send him a text, and he says, "Well, who wants to know?" And I said, "Well, I want to know." And the rest is history. Here I am, and um, I tell this story. My career wise is I look at it like a Trivial Pursuit pie, right? And you put the little pieces in it. I'd done so much, so many different things, for profit, nonprofit, the volunteer stuff, the networking. And I always felt like there was one piece of that Trivial Pursuit pie that was missing, and it was the policy space. Now, I had been a fish and game commissioner for Stratford County in New Hampshire, so I had started really dipping my toes in that water as far as policy and regulations and rules and things like that, and working in government as a commissioner. So it wasn't completely foreign to me. And then as a political junkie and wonk on the side, again, these personal interests lend themselves to it. So all that to say, I feel like professionally in the outdoor space, I was able to fill my Trivial Pursuit pie with this one last piece. And I have nothing bad to say about any of my other opportunities in the past, but they all lead you somewhere, right, Jeremy? Like, y'all kind of
Yeah.
hindsight's 2020. You look at the path and the windy roads it took you where you started, where you end up. And the work I've done in the past is rewarding, but nothing, I can't think of anything more that I can have my hands involved with, that I can literally go back in time and say, that piece of legislation has my fingerprints on it. That piece of legislation we proactively brought forward to legislators. They championed it. We got it across the finish line. The governor signed it. And now that's law. People won't know I personally did that, or the collaboration of us and the legislators. The legislator who sponsors it will get that, and that's fine. Well, I know, in my history, in my professional history, in our organization, I know whose fingerprints are on that, and that's pretty big deal to me, and I can look at my kids, and someday their kids are gonna be the beneficiaries of the work we're able to do on the ground and deliver, so it's a mighty big deal. I don't mean to speak, hyperbolically about it. I very
Right.
much
No,
mean.
but you clearly, we talk about this passion all the time. And so, number one, you got it. Number two, man, it looks like you're having fun.
Oh, it's a blast,
Yeah.
blast. What's nice about this work too for our organization is that CSF is a nonpartisan organization, right? And working, and that's a really hard thing to do in 2026.
You're not wrong. No.
Now, so we're a bipartisan organization. On the Hill, our Congressional Sportsmen's Caucus is the largest bipartisan, bicameral organization on the entire Hill. So you're looking at both chambers, both sides of the aisle, and some in between. And that's what's great about our issues: conservation, sporting issues, rec shooting, fishing. There really doesn't need to be a label on it as far as the person involved. We all have this passion for healthy habitats, healthy herds, healthy flocks, and the rest of it be damned truly. Like, what does it matter? If we can all come together, agree on these things, promote policy to make sure stuff continues. Conservation is what it is by name and by definition, and we perpetuate that. I don't really care what the labels are. All the rest of it's ancillary. I mean, we're going to
Sure.
fall into our tribes. And, again, that's a function of 2026 and where we're at in the timeline. But at least guys like you and me and folks that are in our universe can put our heads down at night and be like, yeah, that other stuff is what it is. But what we do here for our sporting community, our deep rooted traditions,
Hmm.
it doesn't come with labels. You either are a sportsman or woman, or you are not. And that's I mean, so if you're not, no big deal. You're always welcomed.
So I think it was around deer season when I called you up because this was right around the time of that public land sale proposal.
Mm.
I thought, I see all this stuff on social media, and I thought, man, I got a guy, you, that I think I could be. And you did. You provided some really interesting insight because, I mean, when you see it on social, obviously that's supercharged with emotion, and you made some really great points. And then, I felt like I knew what to do. Like, if I'm going to write a letter, if I'm going to make a phone call, this is what I should do. So, I mean, you might have already answered this question. I'm going to ask it again anyway. So, like, how messed up are things in Washington for the outdoorsman right now? I mean, are we doing a good job in the realm of protecting hunting and fishing heritage, or do we really have things to be concerned about? Are there really groups that are coming hot and heavy after us?
I would say it's the opposite. We're actually the ones that are moving bills and getting
Okay.
stuff and maybe having progress, right? So, some that would I bring to your attention, the Map Waters and Map Oceans Act has moved through, and this is basically technology in a standard now to help anglers either on the salt or inland fisheries to know access points, rules and regulations, all at your fingertips. We have this great technology, we can use it. So at the federal level, they have federalized this, and so that good stuff is moving through. I think of the Duck Stamp Modernization Act back in the Biden administration. We had that year. I think we had, I forget what the bill count was, but in totality, it counted as like 27% of the bills that got the president's desk in the Biden administration
Hmm.
were our bills, were our issues. So when everything's gridlocked and they're kicking cans down the road with CRs and budgets, and you look at things like right now, they're just so partisan with the SAFE Act and all this other social
Hmm.
stuff that's going on. We got stuff that's moving through. We're looking at, they passed the Explore Act last year, and our own Vice President, Taylor Schmitz, was on the Hill recently holding the flag for the entire community. In that Explore Act, there are provisions to establish, and a lot of it's out west, but shooting ranges and creating access so people can go to public ranges and shoot. And your audience may or may not know, but the way our conservation is funded at the state level is through license sales. Then those sales are matched at the federal level through Pittman Robinson,
Mhm.
Tinkle Johnson funds that get distributed to the states. Well, part of that money comes from the recreational shooting part of the community. Actually, over 70%
Mhm.
hunters like to put it on our back. They're like, "Oh, hunters pay for it." Yes, we do,
We
but
do.
it's the purchase of ammo and firearms and accoutrement that is taxed at that manufacturer level 10 to 11%. Rec shooters are holding it down for us, and God bless them for it. So we want to make sure there's access. Explore Act already had that in there, so we're trying to get people, Taylor and our federal team, trying to get them to start working through that. The bill was passed. Now let's start enacting some parts of that law. So yeah, I mean, kind of getting wonky, but to answer your question, yeah, we're actually able to get our issues through because there's just so much more loud stuff out there taking up the oxygen. And not that our issues aren't important, but again, they're bipartisan and most of them are easy wins for legislators.
Mhm.
Okay, we did do this and I did pass this or I co-sponsored this. So if and when they do go back to their constituency in their home states, in their districts, like, here's the resume for sportsmen and women that should mean something to you.
That's fascinating. And honestly, a little bit comforting, I think is the word I was looking for right there, right? You hear so much about losing this, losing that. So to hear that you're not gridlocked with these issues and that you're getting that support on both sides. What I work for,
Mhm.
through the nonprofit that I do full time, it's nice because that's a nonpartisan issue, right? I mean, a
Oh my
chronic
goodness,
disease doesn't care if you're a Republican or a
does
Democrat or
not.
another, right? Doesn't care. So, I see Fred in a suit, and then there's what I come to call Rage Fred, and that's that guy in that home gym with metal blaring that's through the speakers and lifting heavy things.
Yeah,
So,
man.
you still hitting them pretty hard?
Yeah, man, I'm there
Yeah,
every day, 6 days a week, Sunday's the rest day, but, especially when the weather's nice, I'm still trying to do something, um, steps or incline walking or something.
right.
Yeah, I don't post a lot like I used to socially, and, when I started out, and it's not that I'm not motivated. For me, that posting, that community was good because it was, well, 1, it was a support system, but 2, it kept me disciplined. And it's weird because I'm not playing to, or I wasn't playing to a specific audience. I just felt like I was part of this community. And then socially within that, people were holding each other to account. So I almost felt like, it was an integrity thing for me. Because if I'm gonna put myself out there, I better well damn follow through on this stuff. And it's a weird dichotomy, right? Because I'm not doing it for sponsorships or for gear. And I'm not doing it so that, the homies in the space are being like, yeah, that boy's killing it. I don't know. It was this weird thing of just accountability for me. Well, you do it so long, and you well know this. I mean, you have a company to promote, so and you've got a business, so I get that. But like after a while, it just it just became part of the day. Like
Mhm.
getting up, going to the bathroom, and breathing. I was
Right.
telling my son the other day, I said goal setting for the summer for him because he's going to be 13. There's like no camps or anything when you're 13 is a weird age, but
Mhm.
he's a great hockey player, loves football, and so he does all that during the seasons. I said, "Well, we're gonna put a regiment together, and I'm gonna
Yeah.
challenge you to be disciplined." And I said, "After 90 days, after the end of the summer, you will be addicted to it, not addicted in like an obsessive, unhealthy way."
Right.
I said, "But your body is literally going to crave this movement. It's
Yep.
going to crave
Yep.
the feeling and the recovery and the mid workout feeling that you get." I said when you get to that point, I think for me that's when you arrive at this
Mhm.
and you can stop posting. Or that's how I felt like. So I
Sure.
yeah, I don't post, but I got to the point where the if I miss a day, if I miss 2 days, my body starts freaking out. I
Yeah.
go in like legit withdrawals.
I get
That's the only way I can describe it. And my mood is affected. I feel like crap
Mhm.
and I long to get back into my gym. Anyway, there's worse vices to have.
I,
This one just keeps, the older we get, Jeremy, the more I wanna fight it. I feel great. I feel better than I ever have in my life at, 46 years old.
mhm. I get
Keep
cranky
doing it.
when I don't do it. I
Yeah?
legit, yeah. I legit get cranky. You know what though? I feel you. I mean, social media, whatever, videos, short form, long form. I mean, it gets to be it's part of what I got to do. I get that. But there were several hunts this year that I had all the cameras ready to go. And I was like, you know what? And this will probably be the moment where the big one steps out. And I'm not doing it today. I just didn't want to do it, you know? And
Yeah.
it gets to a point where I know that this is a part of my business, but sometimes I don't want to do the business. I just want to go hunt. Right.
What's
So,
good about what you guys do and what you do is it's not necessarily that it's a self-serving part of your well, I mean, I guess it is for a business model because you gotta put the business out there, but you provide and this I think would make successful social media accounts is you provide a resource and you provide answers to questions and, you guys with Fit the Hunt, people can follow along and go there and pick up one thing here, one thing there, so unlike other accounts that are just rage bait, clickbait stuff, like that's another vice people have, and they obviously follow because those people are successful. But it feels like it's social media wise, the accounts that get a lot of play that people follow, that the algorithm will pick up and further put you out there for
mhm,
discovery is offering a service, offering answers, and you guys do a great job.
thank you for that. Hey, circling back though on your kid, was that 13? That's eighth grade, right? My son.
So he's seventh, he's 13, just about at the end of the year, so he'll be going into eighth grade. That's
Okay.
right.
Point. So, obviously, both boys. I mean, I do what I do for a living. I'm gonna tell you what, if he does what you're describing over the summer, not only will he be addicted to it, it will set him apart from the other athletes on the field.
100%.
Yeah. And I mean, so like right now, so Jack graduated, he's in college. Justin is, pretty darn good high school wrestler. And I've got not only families from our own team coming over and asking, what did he do? My gosh, I got coaches from other teams. I'm like, well, I'm not going to tell you what we did. Now, the guys on our team, I'm happy to share that little secret with you. But I was like, he's got a little bit of or I should say, an advantage when you got a coach and a trainer for a dad. That I guess that does kind of help out just a little bit.
Yeah.
But no, starting them like now. And I mean, even when they were younger, they would go to the gym with us and they'd swing a kettlebell or they would, so there was really no coaching for both boys. I've never had to kick them in the butt and say, go to the gym. Fred, they get up and they go on their own. Right. And yeah. So now we just go train together. It's beautiful. So you and your son are going to be training together this summer?
Yeah, I'm gonna challenge him this summer and I got a program put together for him, and
Good.
yeah,
Good.
it's just enough to, there's accountability there, give him do some goal setting, and then really, lack of a better term, make it functional, like
Sure.
draw a correlation. We're gonna do this because it's gonna affect this in hockey.
Hmm.
It's gonna affect this in football, and this is how this is gonna help you, and this is how making sure that you're staying flexible and limber is gonna benefit this and your balance here. It's not about getting, turned into Arnold and getting all veiny. That's pretty cool, and we all
Right.
aspire to it, and I
Right.
think most of us end up with a unhealthy or healthy level of body dysmorphia, but, I think it's important for the kids to understand how these movements and the specific exercises, they all have a rhyme or reason and
Hmm.
how that benefits them, and, obviously, there's a lot of crossover between some of those sports, but I think if you can reason it that way to kids, it's not just pick things up, put them down. There's a huge payoff for you, and like you said, it'll start setting them apart. I always tell them, the kids that you see out there that are just nonstop doing the drills and the training, the
Hmm.
unsexy part of becoming an athlete and being measured, I always tell them that's the stuff that sets them apart. When you start getting into high school and people start fading away and the small percent are staying through it, it's because they did the work and it just becomes part of their daily makeup. I said, so if you can get in that gym that's in our basement, it's accessible, it's right there. You can get there and discipline yourself to do that every day. For me, that's just as good as you going out and doing, hitting pucks for 2 hours. That discipline will carry you through.
So we go back in time a long time ago, and I'm gonna tell you right out, we flat wore out the cassette tape of the Rocky IV soundtrack, lifting weights in the basement over the summer.
Yeah.
Every day. Every day. Hey, turkey season. You getting kind of excited for this?
Man, I'll tell you what, with another half a foot of snow on the ground here in New Hampshire, yeah,
Yeah,
I'm over this winter. Most of us are over this winter. I don't
I
think winter's
bet.
not touched everybody in at least this half of the country, but
I bet. My goodness.
yeah, man, I'm ready. I'm long ready. I know NWTF's convention's kicking off
Mhm.
this week as we're recording this. So they're going to have a hell of a show, and that always gets people fired up. But not necessarily living vicariously through that. Just I think you get to this point in the winter, and you're like, "Yep, it's the flip has been switched. Florida is going to be opening up here in a couple of weeks for the kids." And yeah, man. And then it is truly living vicariously through social media and watching everyone have a hell of a time. And then, we kind of get to the end of April, beginning of May, and then it's
That's
our
you.
time.
That's you. I was driving to a meeting last night, and there's usually birds in this field, and man, there were 25 or 30 of a flock of them in there, and it was. I see that. I mean, I've always long maintained that antlers are cool, and a deer will fill the freezer maybe a little more effectively. But what you said to start the show, it's okay that you said that. So my Baptist uncle, who loves to catch bluegill on the fly, he turned around one day, and he goes, "Jeremy?" I said, "What, Uncle Jimmy?" He goes, "This is about as much fun as you can have with your clothes on." And I kind of looked at him. I'm like, I didn't think hardcore Baptists were supposed to talk like that, but I just went with it. I'm like, we're good, right? But so you guys don't start till end of April or first part of
Well,
May.
the top three New England states were May
Uh-huh.
1. I think the bottom three in New England are third week of April, somewhere in there.
Do you plan to go anywhere out of state, or do you stick pretty much to New England?
I will this year. I don't think I may do Virginia only because work is bringing me down to the Virginia area.
Okay.
So I may try to work something in around there with some
Yeah.
contacts. But yeah, it'll be Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine, hopefully Connecticut. All these years I've been hunting and trying to check my states off, and for whatever reason, I've still not made Connecticut happen, even though it's 2 hours down the road. So hopefully, I'll get over to Connecticut and do something worthwhile there. But
That's awesome.
all these states being so close, it really keeps you busy. It's just
Do you do a lot of preseason scouting, or are you hunting places where you historically know you got birds running around?
I hate to brag, but the way the turkey flocks are set up around here and kind of where New England is, in my opinion, on the turkey restoration timeline, I still think we're in our golden years of this stuff. We might have peaked and we're maybe on the backside of the slope, but it's so damn good that, yeah, I don't, if I have someone come up and it's just part of the experience and I'm hosting them, we'll go out and roost birds, but
Right.
I'm roosting birds I know are going to be there the next morning. Nothing's a guarantee, nothing's a chip shot. You still got to work for them, but I know my area so well, or you just understand the terrain and the
Hmm.
habitat that I can go into Maine without scouting it, knowing that there's turkeys there. Same thing, maybe a bit in Vermont, and just getting that permission. But yeah, it's that part of it's kind of over for me. If I go out to another state
Hmm.
and I'm making that investment of time and treasure, I'm gonna soak it all in, and we're gonna go roost and scout and do all that. But locally here, they're mushrooms. They show up in the same places every year, unless they develop it and put houses on it.
Right.
I'll see.
I was thinking about that the other day. I mean, we're gonna run out to the farm this weekend. I got to do a little work to do anyway. Well, I tell you what, I'm getting excited about that is so I my new place. We've got it broken up into units, and we're burning about 20 acres in the next 2 or 3 weeks. So that
Oh, good.
that area right there will be prime because the birds already like this valley anyway. It's a spring down there. But to get back to what you're saying, of all the places that we have, whether it's family land or permission hunting or whatnot, we've hunted it so long we know where the birds are going to be based on where they've roosted, based on creeks, based on terrain. And so, we might drive around and glass a little bit just to see if birds are in the fields or whatnot. But you can pretty much rest assured that if you go to one of these places over the course of week number one and you're patient, you should get an opportunity
Yeah.
at a gobbler. So that's awesome, man. Well, dude, hey, I know it's a little later there than it is here, so I do appreciate you hopping on tonight.
Oh yeah. No, it's fun.
This is cool. I like talking to you. I like what you're doing. I like your story. I like what you're doing for us now with the Congressional Sportsman Foundation. It's cool. And like I said, to know you started here to move there, I mean, we're talking to guys every day that want to do that. And you kind of just gave the blueprint. And the neat thing about that blueprint, there wasn't anything easy about it. So you busted your ass to get from a
Yeah.
volunteer status all the way to where you are right now. Tell my son, dude, that's how you get it.
It is a weird thing, again, because when guys like you and I kind of started down our respective paths, there was no social media to the extent that it is now. Uh, the world just wasn't so accessible. I think there was still somewhat of a work ethic that you got to kind of earn your stripes, put your time
Hmm.
in. And I see so many, I'll call them kids coming out of college or hell, even high school, and they look at you, they want what you want. Well, I want to do what you do. Okay, this is about 15 to 20 years of grinding. So
Hmm.
you got some time to go. And they come out starry eyed, think they're going to make six-figure incomes. I don't know what in society has done this or brainwashed these kids, but it's like, you got to pay your dues. Like this isn't automatic. So anyway, yeah, to your point, yeah, if you're gonna want to break into the space, the industry, like start at the bottom, start making connections, network like crazy, be genuine, don't be a put on, don't be a shill for a product just to do it. Like be invested and things will happen.
Cool, man. Well, look, let me know how turkey season goes.
Yeah,
Keep
likewise.
keep lifting those weights, and let me know how that goes with the kid. I like that. I like it when dads and their sons and daughters, not just sons, but
Okay,
daughters,
yeah, she's
get there. I like it.
that one's strong too. All that volleyball, she needs it too. Leg strength, man. Holy
Good
smoke.
deal. Fred,
Let's say before we bounce, I just want to put a PSA out there for
yeah.
your with legislative sessions going on right now. And some
Hmm.
of them early are coming to an end. The best thing people can do, pay attention to what's happening in DC, obviously, but a lot of the stuff that affects us personally is happening in our backyards, in our state. Our community must stay involved. They must keep up with things that are going on in your area and be involved. And all you can do is log on to a committee page and go to your general court, House, Senate, find the committee where that bill is, and just either I oppose or I support. And you want to submit a letter, like these people. It only takes like 5 to 6 emails or phone calls to get local legislators' attention. So that's my elevator pitch. Be involved because no one's doing it for you, and the antis are surely showing up when they can, which is most of the time. And if they're the only ones screeching, then they're going to get the lion's share of the attention. We got to own it. We got to be part of the solution.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Let your voice be heard.
That's exactly right.
Fred, thank you, bud. We'll talk soon.
Jeremy, good to see you. Thanks so much.
Fred is a great guy. I love his outlook on really just about everything, but I really admire how he's paid his dues to get where he is today, and he just continues to grind. We we honestly need more people like him. Turkey season, it's opening up in Florida in just a few weeks, and my friend Jim Richmond and I are going to be hunting Rios in Texas Hill Country in early April with both of our sons, and I personally have really started to ramp up my training. Texas Hill Country, my gosh, it is beautiful, but holy cow, is it rugged. And if you aren't in great shape, you might miss out on an opportunity. So throughout February, we are going to give away a free Fit to Hunt truck decal for every purchase of a strutter or extreme strutter DIY. Now, let me help you break this down. The strutter is a program that we designed really to chase eastrants. It can be used as a standalone program or as something that you could put into an existing program. But the idea when we developed it was that it is going to work through movement patterns and mobility that you're going to need to hunt turkeys. Now, extreme strutter, I designed this one for going after Rios in hill country or Merriam's out west. And it might be one of our hardest workout programs. So, either way, if you just want to get in good shape, look at the strutter. If you're really wanting to take your training and conditioning to the next level, well, then Extreme Strutter might be for you. Well, that's a wrap on February show. Thank you for listening. We appreciate you being here. And hopefully, you're getting something from these conversations that's going to help you perform better in the field and get more out of your adventures. Have a great day. And as always, you stay fit to hunt.